Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Cyber Essentials webinar. Great to see such a turnout for a subject we are so passionate about. During the next 20 minutes, we will be introducing you to the importance of cybersecurity. We will talk about the benefits of certification, but more importantly, we will show you the 5 core controls that need to be looked at to secure your business against the most common cyber threats. Firstly, a quick bit of housekeeping. All attendees are on mute to help with any feedback, and cameras are disabled for your privacy. Your details are hidden from each other for security and GDPR reasons. However, at the end of the webinar, there will be an opportunity to have some Q&As should you have any questions. We'd like to just do a quick introduction of ourselves. So myself, my name is James Campbell. I'm a service desk engineer at Red Door IT within the tech team. This is my 6th year working in IT support since I first started working during my studies at university to achieve my computer science degree. Within Red Door, this is the start of my 3rd year, and I'm excited as ever to be here. If you're an existing customer of Red Door, we may have already met when I've come to visit you on site, as it's one of my great pleasures to visit our customers and provide in-person IT support.
Hi, good morning. I'm Barry Hanna. I'm Technical Director at Red Door IT and Cyber Assessor. I joined the team from the very start and have recently just reached 25 years experience in the industry, all the way up from an apprentice to where I am now. I have several qualifications in the IT arena, but most recently become Cyber Security Assessor qualified via the ISME scheme.
Right, apologies about that, guys. So, who are Red Door IT? As I previously touched on, we are a leading provider of flexible and tailored IT services, support, and cyber security in and around the London area. Putting customer service at the forefront of what we do, we help companies of all sizes find the right IT solutions so that they can flourish without the worry of dealing with systems in-house. We introduced CyberAdvisor brand last year to help businesses really focus on the cybersecurity aspect of their IT. Our primary mission with CyberAdvisor is to assist you in achieving and maintaining the Cyber Essentials certification by providing industry-leading managed services and training. Our business mantra is based on the 3 pillars. The first one is testing. Effective testing of your existing systems by auditing the current setup, which will then highlight all the current vulnerabilities. These can then be removed. To put it another way, we would like to find out what you have, agree with you on where you need to be, and work with you on the vulnerabilities that are an obstacle of that goal. Our second pillar is technology. This is met by supplying hand-picked managed software that can sit alongside or replace your existing systems. An example of this is being DNS, or short for Domain Name System Filtering. This example gives your business an extra layer of defense by preventing employees from accessing dangerous websites or linking to them from dangerous emails, such as phishing emails. To put it another way, we're equipping the right tools for the right job. Which brings us to our third and most important pillar, training. We know this is the most important thing because phishing scams make up the majority of cybercrime to the tune of 90%. To repeat that, phishing scams make up the majority of cybercrime to the tune of 90%. There is a limit to what hardware and software can do to prevent this. To put it another way, that Barry and I previously likened to it, is having all the top-of-the-range home security systems in place. But when the fraudulent cyber actor arrives, knocks on your door and asks you to share the master password to shut the system down. all of that high-tech security, it then becomes redundant. Phishing is so important to us. We will touch on that a little bit later and explain that in more depth. But Red Door Cyber Advisor provide easy-to-consume training videos, infographics, and other materials to train your staff to spot these threats. So fraud. Fraud is now one of the UK's #1 crime. The government recently completed a survey and estimate that UK businesses have experienced approximately 8 million cybercrimes in the last 12 months alone. In that period, 50% of all businesses reported a cyber attack. And as I mentioned, phishing is by far the most common. The reason is that threats don't stay the same. They adapt, they change, and so we all need robust IT cybersecurity. So, what is cybersecurity? Cybersecurity is how businesses and individuals reduce the risk of being affected by the cyber crime. Its core function is to protect the devices we use. That includes smartphones, tablets, computers, and of course, under the umbrella of computing, that includes your laptop, your desktop, workstations, servers, and even your gaming PC. Your RGB lighting on your gaming PC will not make you an exception to this. In addition, preventing unauthorized access to the services we access online, notably cloud storage, which we may access both at work and at home. A cyber attack is an attempt to damage, disrupt, or gain unauthorized access to the computer systems, networks, devices, or your data. There are many types of cyber attacks, but the most prevalent are phishing, malware, business email compromise, sometimes known as BEC, and ransomware. I'll just quickly explain what these are. Phishing attacks use scam emails or text messages that contain links to websites that are a source of malware that then attempts to install on your device. Another aim of phishing is to trick you into revealing sensitive information, such as your passwords, account information, or directly transferring money. Cyber attackers use harmful software such as spyware, viruses, ransomware, and worms, known as malware, to access your system's data. When you click on a malicious attachment or link, the malware can install itself and become active on your device, giving the attacker access to your data. It's a common misconception that malware is a type of virus. However, it's the other way around. Business email compromise is a form of phishing attack where a criminal attempts to trick a senior executive, or the accounts department, for example, into transferring funds or revealing sensitive information. Ransomware is a malicious software that cyber attackers install on your device, allowing them to block your access until you pay the attackers a ransom. However, paying the ransom does not guarantee the removal of the software, nor access to your data. Experts generally advise not to pay the ransom. It's preferable to restore from a previous backup where possible, as generally once you pay one ransom, they will continue to target you. So, brings us on to a very important topic. What is Cyber Essentials? And how does it help your business? Well, Cyber Essentials is a government-backed, industry-supported scheme designed to help businesses protect themselves against common online threats. It provides a set of 5 basic technical controls which you should have in place to enhance your cyber security. By obtaining Cyber Essentials certification, businesses showcase their commitment to safeguarding sensitive data and mitigating cyber threats. Implementing Cyber Essentials controls helps protect against 80% of the most common cyber attacks immediately. Customers and partners gain peace of mind knowing that their business takes cybersecurity seriously. Cyber Essentials certification reassures your customers, suppliers, and partners that the business is proactive in protecting their information. It builds trust and fosters stronger relationships by them knowing you take cybersecurity seriously. Many government projects and contracts now require suppliers to hold an up-to-date Cyber Essentials certificate. There are certain legal and regulatory compliances that the certification assists with, for example, data protection laws and GDPR. It is widely predicted that insurance companies will soon require businesses to obtain certification to prove they have cybersecurity measures in place. Otherwise, premiums are likely to increase. Also, your business continuity improves with cybersecurity measures and ensures smooth operations because cyber attacks can be financially devastating. Certification helps prevent costly consequences by reducing the risk of breaches. Cyber Essentials is suitable for businesses of any size and across all sectors. Even small businesses with limited IT expertise can achieve the certification. So, there are two levels of certification. Cyber Essentials is a self-assessment option which gives you protection around 80% of the most common cyber attacks. This is important because vulnerability to basic attacks can mark you out as a target for more in-depth and unwanted attention from cyber criminals. Certification gives you peace of mind that your defenses will protect you against the most common threats, simply because these attackers are looking for targets which do not have cyber essential controls in place. Using the analogy from earlier, if a burglar walks down a road, they are more likely to try and gain entry into the house with no security compared to the other houses which have plenty of security. Now, Cyber Essentials Plus still has the Cyber Essentials simplicity of approach, and the protection you need to put in place is the same, but also involves more hands-on technical audit. So to employ another analogy, we liken it to an MOT. Cyber Essentials is like MOT in your own car. Cyber Essentials Plus is like taking the car to the garage and going for a full service and a health check. In the following section, we'll talk about the 5 technical categories of Cyber Essentials. I'll now hand over to Barry.
That's great. Thank you, James. So, just before we get into what is actually required, we need to establish what is actually included in the scope for your Cyber Essentials. So in basic terms, you should be including anything that has access to company data, whether this is PCs, laptops, servers, mobiles, and also any cloud services you use, so things like Office 365 or Salesforce. You'll need to also show the operating systems and versions of the devices. So this is as a part of the assessment. An asset management system can really help with this and keep track of everything, although it's not essential. So secure configuration. All devices should be configured correctly. For example, making sure that any unneeded and unrequired software is removed, including default and local users, which also is the same for passwords. So any default passwords should be changed immediately to help secure the device. Firewalls and internet gateways. So a firewall is a way of controlling the flow of data in and out of a device. This can either be done via a piece of software or hardware. Your internet router, for example, would class as a hardware firewall. The software firewall could be one that comes built in with your operating system. So what is a firewall? A firewall is looking to shutting and opening of doors to your business to gain access. So it's really important to make sure you keep them closed to help stop any unrequired access. As with other devices, it's really important as well to make sure that default passwords are changed for any hardware routers, and also access to the settings page are securely restricted, so they can't be changed by just standard users. Access control, or in simple terms, passwords. These should be strong and ideally a minimum of 12 characters. It does seem quite long to have a password of 12 characters, but a nice easy way to remember it is to use 3 short words. So you can have 3 short words that mean something to you or easy to remember. And before you know it, you've definitely got more than a 12-character password. Also for access control, MFA or multi-factor authentication is another really important step. Some of you might be familiar with this from your bank, for example, or things like PayPal. So when you go to log in, you will enter your username and your password. You will then also receive maybe a text message to your mobile, or you may have an app on your phone that will generate a code. This is giving you another method of authentication to make sure that you are who you say you are. So really make sure that you set up MFA on anything that is available to you. Moving on to access control. So this is making sure that users only have access to the data that they need to do their jobs, basically. That's really important. Also covered in access controls is controls for the actual machines themselves. So you need to make sure that users are only logging on with user access controls and levels. So they're not local admins. I see this quite a lot where people have just set up machines themselves, they log in and they're logging in with a local admin. In this instance, you could receive an email from maybe someone you know who's had their emails compromised. It could contain malicious code in the background that can be installed without your knowledge. Same as if you happen to visit a website that's fraudulent, it could download and install some of the software like malware or ransomware that James mentioned earlier without your knowledge. If you're not logged on as a local admin, when this would try to happen, it would prompt for a username and password, which would either prompt you to kind of think before putting that in if you knew the admin password, or you'd have to contact someone who would be able to give you this, and then you'd be able to work out why it was required. Part of access control is also levers, making sure that levers are removed from all of your systems as soon as possible. So whether that's access to mobile phones, laptops, as well as if they have things like VPNs set up, or they have access to cloud services, like I said earlier, like Salesforce or Office 365, for example. Patch management. Patch management is a term for updating software, specifically to plug or close a weakness found within the software, as these weaknesses can be exposed by cyber criminals. So all software needs to be patched within 14 days of release by the manufacturer. The software still needs to also be in support by the manufacturer. So, for example, older versions of Windows operating systems, so in the past Windows 7, soon to be next year Windows 10, are not in support by the manufacturer. So this means that the manufacturer, so Microsoft in that example, would not be releasing any security or patches or updates to your devices. So it's really, really important that they are phased out and you move on to newer operating systems that do have the updates. You can use patch management software and systems to help you achieve this, make sure everything's up to date. But you can also just making sure you have auto updates switched on your laptops and your mobile phones. That can actually help as well. Malware protection. So most of you will probably be familiar with this. So it's virus protection software that sits on a device and helps detect and remove any viruses. This is also important to make sure that devices are protected and that users can't access the settings page of this to switch them off or change any settings, a bit like how we had with the firewall earlier. So in summary, implementing some of these 5 controls alone is great, but adding them all together gives you a much, much stronger system. That's me done. I'm going to hand you back to James to carry on with the rest of the presentation. Thank you very much.
That's great, Barry. Thank you so much for that. So, how do you go about achieving the Cyber Essentials certification? To get started, there is a free online check-in tool on the Cyber Advisor website. I'll share this link with you all later in an email. Firstly, you'll need to evaluate your business's existing security controls and identify gaps and areas for improvement. Cyber Essentials focuses on essential security practices, as Barry discussed, such as patch management, secure configuration, and access control. These will need to be implemented. Visit the Cyber Advisor website to then apply for your certificate. This is then verified by a body that is the authorized body by EASME. They are the delivery partner of the government branch of the National Cybersecurity Centre, otherwise known as the NCSC. The process is straightforward and affordable. And once certified, you are listed as holding the certification on the NCSC website. So, price. Certification starts at £320 per year for a micro business, up to a cap of £600 per year for a large company. If you have some technical knowledge and are comfortable applying for it yourself, you can do so. However, should you need help, we do offer a managed service to assist in implementing the mandatory controls and achieving a certification for £495. Just as a reminder, so micro organizations, that's up to 9 employees. That's £320, including VAT. Medium organizations, up to 249 employees. That's 500, including VAT. And large organizations, that's a capacity of £600 per year plus VAT. So after the meeting, I'll send you all an email with a handy checklist to start you on your Cyber Essentials journey and a free handout. This handout here is an information sheet regarding phishing attacks for you to send to your staff, read yourself, and anyone else you may think it may help. So in summary, before we start Q&A, Cyber Essentials is a certification, not just a checkbox. It's a strategic move that enhances your security, builds trust with your customers and suppliers, and opens doors to business opportunities. So let's prioritize cybersecurity and protect our businesses. Barry and I would like to thank you for your attention and are happy to answer any questions you may have. If you have one, please use the Q&A function on screen and feel free to reach out to us afterwards. No questions as of yet, but again, any and all are welcome. Wonderful. So from MR, we have a question. I'm only a small business. Do I need so much? That's a great question. So even if you're a small business, you are a target to cyber attackers because they make the assumption that you don't have many cybersecurity measures in place. They may get the impression that you're only operating a few desktops, a couple email accounts, and only use a basic alphanumerical password combination. Barry, would you like to touch on any more that could be a risk to small businesses and why it's important that they are also protected?
Yes, I find obviously a lot of small businesses are a lot easier targets. In fact, a bit like we were saying earlier with the analogy of having a lot of security in your house and next door maybe not so much. Obviously, a lot larger organisations have a lot higher budget, so they obviously have more controls in place and more software and hardware to help detect the issues. Obviously, a lot of smaller businesses don't have that. They don't have the training of staff, they don't have the knowledge, and they don't have systems in place. So you'll probably find that you're more likely to get targeted or have issues with cyber criminals, sort of the smaller you are. So it's really, really important to put a lot of these controls in place because a lot of the controls don't cost a lot of money to put in place. Things like having correct passwords and making sure you're not local admins and setting up MFA. They're relatively cheap and easy to do, but they do make a massive difference and make you a lot harder target.
Definitely well said, Barry. And would it be worthwhile adding as well? So typically large companies, they are likely to have backups in place. That includes on-prem backups, cloud storage backups, redundant drives, if anything, any of them are affected. But a small business, they might not have as much. So if they are victim to a piece of malware that destroys, holds ransom their data, corrupts it, if they have that data loss, they're experiencing a more dramatic financial loss and a business impact than a large company that can restore from a backup maybe, yesterday, last night, the morning of the incident. So it's equally as important for small businesses as it is for large businesses.
So yeah, I've just seen another question going. I can take this one saying that isn't having antivirus just enough. Antivirus is an important step or part of your security package, so making sure you have antivirus installed. Yes, that's really important. Although a lot of the things that we touched on and happen aren't classed as a virus as such. So if you receive an email that looks like it's come from your bank, for example, and you click on it and the web page comes up and it looks like your bank and you're asked to enter your username and password, and you enter this effectively giving away your username and password to somebody else who then can gain access, there is no virus because you're literally just asking you for information and you're handed over. So In that instance, the machine is not going to detect a virus. There is no virus as such. It's just a web page that someone is asking for information, which you've handed over. So yes, antivirus is obviously important, but it's not the only step. Other measures in place will help stop that. Whether that's, like you mentioned, James, like DNS filtering to help try and block that website loading in the first place. But I do find training is also really important and probably one of the most overlooked parts of cybersecurity. You can have all the measures and all the systems and everything in place, but like you said earlier, if you're just handing over the keys to someone because you've been tricked or you're not sure what you're meant to be looking for, all those measures and systems become redundant. So training, I do think, is really, really important.
That's right. I think Barry and I, we definitely do love our analogies, and Barry has given a couple great ones this morning. Um, just to add to that as well, it's like having a car alarm system on your sports car, but if you press the unlock button on the key near someone who wants to gain entry and drive off with it, you know, having the best car alarm system isn't going to prevent them from taking it. Um, and of course, we touched on that important statistic as well. 90% of all cybercrime is phishing, and phishing involves user interaction. So just to rehash on what Barry mentioned, if you get an email from no reply Microsoft at gmail.com, of course, we would assume that that account is bogus. However, it's very easy to mistake it, especially if they put a lot of time and effort into making the email look and feel like a genuine Microsoft one. You click on the link in the email, takes you to a website, and it looks just like a Microsoft login page, and they ask for your email address and password. Again, no virus was involved in this. However, you have willingly given your email address and your password and submitted it to them. So we have another question, a couple more actually. Is this a self-certification system? If so, how will we know how to get the right information? Excellent. So definitely do have a look at the resources we'll send out in an email afterwards. We'll include the information leaflet. And also it's important to check out the Cyber Advisor website. You can do it yourself for the prices we mentioned earlier on and broke down. However, we do offer a service, and that touches into our fourth question as well. What help is provided? So a combination of assessing your systems and what you need to be eligible to receive the Cyber Essentials certification, in combination of actually achieving the Cyber Essentials combination, that is a service we pride ourselves on offering. Barry, are there any other technical additions to make to that?
Yeah, so like James said, you can fill this information in yourself if you do have a little bit of knowledge. It's not too complicated, but obviously there are technical parts in there, as I touched on. So there's probably going to be questions that come up that you're not sure of the answer. So that's what we're here to help for. We can obviously have a conversation with yourselves. If you give us information, we can have a chat and sort of point you in the right direction, all the way down to obviously coming to site or remote access onto machines, having a look around, having a feel, and advising, right, you don't have this in place or you do have this in place. Anything you don't have in place, we can then obviously recommend how you do that, whether that's you want to go and do that yourself or you want us to come and help you actually do that because you're not sure. We can obviously help all the way through the process.
I think we might have time for one last question if there are any others. If not, not to worry, but we'll leave the Q&A open for a little longer, a few more seconds. That's it. So once again, thank you so much for attending our webinar. It was a pleasure for me and Barry to present to you today, and we had a great time doing it. And hopefully you took away some important information. If you take away anything from today, please look at the documents we'll send you in an email. Train your staff, have that conversation at your next all hands meeting about our cyber security measures good enough to protect our business, and make sure all of your devices are up to date. Enable MFA across all of your devices, and never, ever, ever share your login details with an untrusted source. If you know anyone that would also benefit, please do send them our details. Send them the resources that we send you. Help send them the training leaflet. Have a discussion about it as well. And let us know that we're here to help them should they have that requirement. So, as a very last note, as we mentioned, we will be in contact shortly and send you the documents. Have a great day and thank you.